Have you heard the Michael Anthony show?
What part of your childhood do you think made you feel the need to bleed emotionally?
I think, if we're going to be honest, I think it's from having parents who okay, so if they were working class in origin, but they wanted to escape from where they're from. So, you know, my dad, he joined the army, and my mum was a nurse. She got out of Liverpool, he got out of London. They created this life, and it was all about work. And yet, so as I grew up with this sort of work ethic, and my dad made his way through the ranks, we'd go back to London and Liverpool and see the family, and I was always more like drawn to that.
Yeah.
And he'd sort of romanticize this. I suppose it's kind of romanticizing the hideous childhood that he had. I hope he's not listening to this, but and I always felt like
what do you mean by hideous?
I just felt like, you know, he was like I'd say to him when I was 11, I'd be like, "Oh, Dad, what would happen if the 11-year-old you met the 11 me?" And he'd like, "Oh, I'd break your nose and nick your watch," and things like that. And I'd be really shocked by that. And I suppose maybe, I've never really thought about this, but I suppose maybe I needed to, I suppose I wanted...
Did you need to prove yourself to be a character that could take
something like that?
Take on that kind of Liverpudlian background, and you didn't like being the soft Pete character?
No, yeah, but I am soft Pete character.
Soft emotionally,
I am soft Pete character, but I was always drawn to theatre, you know? And poetry, and expressing yourself like in different accents and different voices, you know what I mean? And yet it was never. It was always like a joke to him.
Was the old man's approval nearly an impossible?
No, there's no approval because, like, you know, just because of my emotional makeup, me being a sensitive boy in that environment, there could be no approval. You know what I mean? He's never, like, you know, if I had a kid who did a band, and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's been to 2 gigs in my life, but...
Do you respect it to an extent, though? Because that level of cultural difference...
I don't know. I think I've always just begged to be, like... I suppose I've always sort of kind of begged for attention and wanted to entertain. And he just, like, got his head down and knuckled down and was disciplined and didn't need that from the world. And yet I know deep down somewhere inside him there is that, like, there's that side of him that he can't let out. Like I think when he was 15, he was like an apprentice, like picture frame apprentice. And one time we were going to see QPR, and we stopped off at the Guinness Trust flats by QPR, and he said, "Oh, we'll pop in, we'll see Dave, who used to be my apprentice." And then my dad was in the next room, and I said to Dave, "Oh, what was my dad like as a kid?" And he went, "Yeah, he used to stand on the platform at Paddington Station, writing poems." And I was like, "What?" And then when I asked my dad about that, I said, "Oh." And later on, I said, "Dave said," and my dad, like, he dismissed it and said it was bollocks.
So there was a creative part of him killed.
Yeah.
And therefore he wasn't willing to see you accept the baton and use the genetic talent.
No, he really sat me when I started knocking about with the guitar, and I got it in my head that I can maybe do this, I can maybe write songs and make a go of it. He like 15, he sat me down and said, "Look, you got no music talent, you can't sing, you know what I mean? You get your hair cut, try and get a job in the city." And I was like, "No, Dad, honestly, I'm gonna make a go of this." And he thought it was quite funny. I think he still does. I think he still thinks it's quite funny. Like,